can you hear me? And Vicky, can you hear us online? I think you're on mute, but it looks like you can't hear us.
Yes,
'Cause
we
you
can
nodded.
hear you.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Welcome this afternoon to our Board of Equalization's meeting. We have a long agenda. And of course, we had some difficulties starting, and they're still working on that on my computer with some of the details, so we will go as far as we can, hopefully. Thank you. Okay. So with our agenda, we'll just jump into our agenda. First off, just for some housekeeping rules though, and is that with only 2 commissioners, I will be suspending the rules so that I can make motions in second if needed. And with that, we'll start off with our first agenda item, which is to approve the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held on January 28th, 2021. Any discussions, concerns with that?
No.
Right?
Make a motion.
Motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve agenda item 1.
I'll second that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Number 2 is similar with the minutes, except for it's February 25th, 2021.
I'll motion that we approve agenda item 2.
And I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Number 3 is to approve Board of Equalization Assessor approved review process report, 3/23/2021. Any questions there?
No questions on that one, so I'll make a motion that we approve agenda item 3.
All right, I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes 2-0. And number 4 is to approve the Board of Equalization hearing process report dated 3/23/2021.
And make a motion that we approve item number 4.
And I'll second that motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
That passes 2-0. Number 5 is to approve the Board of Equalization Assessor approved primary residential exemption changes report. That's 3/25/2021. I don't think anybody needs to speak to this if they don't. I saw the list, saw the letter. We should be good. Okay.
Make a motion that we approve item number 5.
And I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Number 6 is to approve or deny petition of the Board of Equalization to hear an appeal of property valuation after the filing deadline. As listed, the names are listed on there of those that are asking for this.
I believe this is a factual error in question, and I believe there's someone from the assessor's office to speak to if they agree or not.
Okay?
Clarissa Reeve with the assessor's office. This may be a factual error. They have yet to actually provide evidence of the factual error, but if you want to open it for the factual error, and then once they provide the evidence, we can agree to that. That's fine.
That'd be great. I would agree with that. Just open it, and to approve this, we'll be opening that. And if they provide that factual error, then they can proceed from there. Any other questions or thoughts?
No. So if we approve this, what we're doing, we don't need to continue this in order to find a factual error or not.
Yeah, we'll prove it. If they provide that factual error, then they'll proceed.
Okay. Then I motion to approve item number 6.
I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are you an aye on that? You say aye?
Oh, yes, yes,
Okay.
aye.
That passes 2-0. Number 7 is to approve or deny a request for tax relief for decrease in fair market value due to access interruption. thought we already took care of all these. How'd this come back on?
Well, this was continued.
Yeah.
Again, and I think Mr. Runyon's probably online.
Yeah, Mr. Runyon's on, and I believe the only issue that was not resolved was the personal property, whether it was to be included or not included. That's my recollection.
Okay, we never concluded
I
that.
think we came to a conclusion on every aspect except for personal property.
Yeah, I think you stipulated to the reduction on the real property.
There was a vote on personal property that was split 1-1. And so it was continued for that aspect. And Mr. Runyon's on if he wants to add anything.
Yeah,
And we still
if
have
I
the
might,
same,
I
two
can
same
just-
commissioners up here on the 1-1.
Yes.
Okay.
I-
Yeah,
if I
Mr.
might,
Runyon.
Commissioner. Okay, thank you, Commissioner. So just like Mr. Harvey and Mr. Jones mentioned, where we are on these three items, it's actually for items 7, 8, and 9 on the agenda. The three remaining movie theaters, the Vineyard Megaplex, the AMC Riverwood, and the Thanksgiving Point Megaplex. So in the last hearing, the board approved that the pandemic was an access interruption. There was a stipulation on the reduction in value of 15%, and that was approved by the board. So then the only question was whether the statute also provides for personal property. Went through and I addressed the language of the statute, and I believe Mr. Jones also said, gave his opinion that the definitions in the statute would also include personal property. So the question is whether the board would include that based on the applications. Commissioner, I believe it was Lee, had a poignant question to me, and it was a good question. He asked, well, this would apply to the hotels as well, right? And maybe I possibly just didn't respond very, very well on that. To that point, I had communications with Mr. Jepson, and I committed to Mr. Jepson that we would not seek the personal property reduction under the statute because the hotels didn't ask for that, the personal property in the applications. And I felt it would be inappropriate for me to go back on my word on what I committed to Mr. Jepson. But personally, I believe that both the hotels and the theaters would be allowed a personal property reduction as a matter of law, because the board has already found that the pandemic for these properties was an access interruption. We requested the personal property, and the statute provides for both real and personal property. So because of that, we believe as a matter of law that personal property adjustments should be allowed. And where the assessor's office has agreed that if the board finds that personal property is allowed under the statute, the assessor's office has stipulated that the same 15% would be applied to each of the theaters. We believe that it's appropriate to make that adjustment. Again, to that, answering Commissioner Lee's question, he's right. It should apply to both. And the only reason that we didn't ask for both is my commitment to Mr. Jepson that we wouldn't ask because it wasn't included in the application for the hotel. So that's just the explanation on that.
Okay, Mr. Jones, any questions, or Peter?
Well, just to comment briefly, I think that the application, or at least my interpretation of how it was listed in the application, it said real property and personal property, if applicable. My interpretation of their clause where they're claiming that it's personal property also is more of a, in case there was personal property included in the real value. I think that generally speaking, when an application is handed in, they include the serial numbers, they include all the information, even the value of what is the personal property value. And I think it was kind of an aftersight on the personal property. There was no evidence, no talk even the first time I even heard about personal property was when Attorney Runyon, when I was just emailing back and forth. I wanted to make sure we were really clear on what we were stipulating to. And then I got an email back that said real property and personal property. So I was never even aware that personal property was on the board. And that's one of the reasons why I just think that the application wasn't filled out, wasn't clear as to what we were doing, how the personal property was affected. There was no talk on that between myself and Mr. Runyon. There was some discussion as did the personal property depreciate? It wasn't being used. So it's my opinion that the personal property really was never clearly identified in the application, and it probably shouldn't be included.
Just a point of clarification, perhaps Mr. Runyon could confirm. The board did make a motion last time as to the reduction in real property. Is that right? Is everybody on that same page? with that?
That's correct, yes. And
Yeah.
that's, in our mind, that's settled and already handled.
Yeah, so the
Mr.
remaining
Jones?
issue is this issue of whether or not the personal property is going to be included. And I just encourage the
Correct.
board to take a vote to move it along.
Yeah. My sense is that when I think of property tax, I don't distinguish between personal and real property. I just simply say property tax. And so when I saw this, I was thinking in terms of both real and personal. And that's how I approached this, even though it was not explicitly stated that way.
Okay, a motion then?
Make a motion
Are
that,
you gonna do for 7, 8, and 9?
let's see,
Can we do that?
Abbey Walder Sage, Tigris Woods, and Thanksgiving Point? Yes, yeah. I'll make a motion that we approve items 7, 8, and 9.
And I'll second that for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. That's still split, 1-1.
At this point, I think it's clear that these, as far as the personal property goes, on a split vote, it's not approved, so it's the equivalent of a denial.
Right.
So
Okay,
is there an opportunity to maybe hold this over until there are 3 commissioners, or how does that work, Paul? When because would be the property owners would be prejudiced if there's only 2 commissioners and it's a split vote.
Yeah, I think that if the board members want to make another motion to continue it, that would be fine. It's unclear, and yet quite improbable that a new commissioner would be here at the next meeting,
And
I would think.
it would probably not be until
Even though
sometime in May.
Possible,
Yeah.
but it would be up to the board to either continue the matter or to just let it die on a split vote. If there's no motion to continue, then that's a final action.
I make a motion that we continue items 7, 8, and 9, but it won't be until May earliest. I think I haven't looked at the calendar, but I would imagine May sometime. That would be sometime down the road, yeah.
I'm not gonna second that, and so I think we should move on. It dies for lack of second. Okay, number 10, approve or deny the 2021 application for new property tax exemption for Ability First.
Is anyone here from Ability First? What they did is they bought property they used to rent, and so this time they're applying for the property that their organization now is at. Diane, did you want to say anything?
And this is a new property tax exemption. I don't think there's a requirement that they necessarily have to be here since they sent the application in. Is that correct, Paul?
No. Oh, she's here.
Looks like she is here.
Oh, she is.
I raised my hand. It unconnected me for a minute. Sorry. So, sorry. What questions or?
So,
Commissioner, they do have to appear, and she's here, so that part's met.
okay, good. I couldn't remember all these little nuances. Yeah. Okay, so just, it is a new property exemption ability, and so if you could just kind of walk down through the criteria from your standpoint of why you're applying for it.
We are applying for the building being added to our property tax exempt because we use the building 100% for the purposes of our organization, our charitable organization. We provide services for people with disabilities, and the building is used to house staff, and we also have equipment, and for those that we store equipment for those that people that have disabilities, and we loan that out to people. We have, so just every part of our building is used to provide the services to those with disabilities. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to be saying. I apologize.
So maybe I can ask the staff, was there anything that you saw in the application that would not, or that we have questions of? Because I haven't, so I'm just asking. I think that everything lined up according to the check boxes that we have. Staff hasn't seen anything different, Paul. Okay. Then I would recommend that we do an approval
Okay.
for number 10.
I'll make a motion that we approve item number 10.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Number 11 is to approve or deny an application for a new property tax exemption for Alpine Bible Church. And are they online?
Yes, that's Nathaniel. This organization got an exemption previously under Biblical Ministries, but they separated from them, and now they have the property in their own name. Yeah, there's Nathaniel. He is the pastor there.
I'm here.
Okay, this is a new one as well, and I'm gonna, as I look down through it, I didn't see anything on there. Paul, did you see anything that checked all the boxes according to that? And they're here, which is part of the requirement, which is fantastic. I would recommend that we do a approval as well on this one.
Make a motion that we approve number 11.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Number 12, thank you, Nathaniel. Number 12 is to approve or deny a 2021 application for new property tax exemption for American Heritage Schools. And are they on the line?
Yes, Mr. Hendrickson. He's here.
All right. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you. How are you?
Doing good? So that requirement's filled. Do you see anything on the new application there that would suggest I didn't? So that would be the same to approve that one then, Commissioner,
I
possibly?
would move to make a motion that we approve item number 12.
And I'll second that one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Thank you. Number 13 is also a new property tax exemption for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it has multiple serial numbers down on there. Is there somebody from the organization?
Yes, Kelly Taylor is here. Kelly? Has she been unmuted? She's on as a panelist. Kelly?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Welcome, Kelly. Okay, so we passed through that one. Is there anything on that one from staff? I didn't see anything. Okay. Sounds like we should move that one through as well.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion that we approve item number 13.
And I'll second that one. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That one passes 2-0. Number 14 is to approve or deny an application for new property tax exemption for community housing services in Spanish Fork, and it has the personal property tax number on there.
Yes, Mr. Hughes is here for that organization.
Welcome, Mr. Hughes.
This
Anything
is
on that?
one. they've been getting the land, the property exempt. They just had never applied for the personal property, which they did this year.
Okay,
So that's spelled out in the details.
I'm here, thank you.
great, welcome. It's good to have you here. And that one looks good from staff as well.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve item number 14.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. This one's to approve or deny an application for new property tax exemption for the Crossroads of the West Council, Boy Scouts of America. Do we have somebody from that organization here?
No one's raised their hand yet.
I sent an email to Jill Isom up in Ogden.
I don't see anyone that's raised their hand yet.
Do we hold this until they do come back?
That's what we've done in the past.
Just
So
hold it for
we
now.
Continue
we
it
can
till
hold
they
it to
come.
see if they come on, and if they come on,
If-
then we can insert them in.
Yeah, if the board would like to table this to come back to this closer to the end of the meeting, we'll see if someone joins us from
Okay?
the Boy
we can
Scout
do that.
Council.
We'll hold it then.
So a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion, we hold item number 15 for later on during this meeting.
And I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Number 16 is to approve or deny a 2021 application for new property tax for the Friends of the Utah County Children's Justice Center. Looking for staff on that one. I didn't see anything okay. So staff's fine with that as well.
I'll make a motion, we approve item number 16.
I'll second.
Are they here? Did they
Oh,
come,
That's a
Commissioner?
good question. Thank you for catching that.
No, I don't see anyone that's raised their hand
Not on there? Maybe we should table this one too, to be
represent the
consistent.
CJC.
Yeah. All right, let's hold this one then. I'll make a motion, we hold this item till later in the agenda.
Okay, and I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0 to hold that. Number 17 is to approve or deny an application for new property tax for the Habitat for Humanities of Utah County. Is anybody on the line for this one? Or here in the?
Yes, Alan Heel is here for that one. Commissioner, these they didn't apply last year, so their exemptions was revoked, so they reapplied this year
Okay.
for these 4 properties.
And you said who was it? Alan? Is that right?
Yes, Alan Hill.
Vicky, this is Paul Jones. Do you know if the parcel number 176457, which is the retail store, has that previously been exempt?
Yes, the land was, but they've never applied for the personal property.
You know, as to that parcel, so there's four parcel numbers on this number 17. The last 3 parcel numbers are homes being built under their program for lower income residents of the county. But that first parcel number 176457 is a retail store, and I believe Habitat for Humanity uses the revenue or profits to go to their charitable operations. It is problematic, however, that the actual use of the property does not appear to be charitable. Well, perhaps we should split that. It sounds like they might have office space in that building as well. And the office space that goes to organizing and operating the charitable purposes, that might qualify as charitable if it's separate and distinguished from the retail part of the building. But a land use that is itself not charitable, even if it does support a charitable, even if the profits go to a charitable use, do not actually qualify as exclusive charitable use. And so that parcel is, in my opinion, problematic. And
You know the size of the square footage of the parcel compared to the rest of it?
I don't know. I don't have that information.
Is it maybe an incidental facility to the rest of it?
Perhaps.
So in the past,
The retail portion is about 18,000 square feet, and the office space is about 3,000 square feet. The entire parcel, the building, not just the land, but the buildings encompass about 21,000 square feet, and 100% of the revenue that's generated from the restore absolutely goes to support all of our program expenses.
So that would be the same with Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, 4-H.
What do you mean by that?
I'm trying to say is that they use the retail functions to support the overall program.
Do the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts have a retail
Yes,
component?
yes.
I'm not aware that. We have a restaurant building in Provo that the nonprofit wants to use the restaurant as a restaurant, and then have the revenue support their nonprofit. Case law is clear that the actual use of the property has to be a charitable use.
And it depends what the retailing includes in the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, and the other programs. They have program-specific items for sale to the general public, and particularly to members. And so if Habitat for Humanity has retail goods that support the functions of the habitat, then it seems like it is. It's not a separate retail effort. It's intrinsic to the program itself.
I definitely see the connection. I think case law is clear that, the use of that property has to be a charitable use. And it's not just that it generates income that's used charitably.
Yeah, and it's like churches that have farms that produce tax revenues. I see where that's coming from. But it's not specific to the function of the churches themselves, although it is. It also distributes to others. But
see, we have also from memory, like with a hospital, they'll have a restaurant attached to it or a daycare center or something of that nature, and we've separated those in the past.
so we have separated the restaurant in like the
Yeah.
hospital here up at the street, then separate that out.
We have.
Yeah, if within one building, there's clear distinction between the uses, then you can do that. You can separate out the uses.
Okay. So the soda machine corner or snack machine on the corner in the hallway wouldn't be counted as a retail space. It would be because it's such a small area, perhaps.
Right, but I think like at the hospital, the gift store,
Yeah.
it's got walls and doors, and you can see where it's separated out. That's not exempt, whereas maybe perhaps the medical facilities that are charitable
Okay.
would be exempt.
So I wonder if we could hold that one parcel, just to be clear on it, and maybe approve the other three parcels that are obviously clear.
I would like to add that the, excuse me, Commissioner, I would like to add that the IRS also recognizes that building as a non-charitable part. We don't pay any taxes on any of that revenue. I'm still a little kind of bewildered trying to follow the path that the revenue that's not only do we offer the opportunity for volunteers to come in throughout the community, including work diversion, court-appointed people. We serve tens of thousands of hours in there a year, but 100% of the money that's generated is charitable. It goes to a charity. I don't really understand the difference between that and a property or anything else that we do. That's 100% of that is charitable.
One thing that might be helpful to the Board of Equalization is to receive more information about the operations going on in the retail side. He mentioned providing work diversion and things of that nature. That might be helpful to the board to know. Is it retail, or is it more than just the retail where they're providing opportunities for, you know, underprivileged people or disadvantaged people to come in and help and gain skills and things of that nature?
It does all of those things, as well as serve as a location for us to hold educational seminars, not just for our homeowners, but for other homeowners to come in and learn about home ownership, home maintenance. We provide home maintenance classes. And then we also, I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head, but it's hundreds of tons of construction-related material and debris that's diverted from our landfills that people bring to our stores and donate. A lot of that we do then sell, but there's a pretty significant amount that we recycle as well. So we are a recycling center there as well for the community.
It would be probably relevant.
With no charge.
It would probably be relevant to the board's discussion to also acknowledge that the retail space is not unusual in charitable. Any thrift store, we have a lot of thrift stores. In Spanish Fork, there is, I can't remember. What was that? Yes, Tabitha's Way, and all the thrift retail locations of the church, of the LDS Church, are all exempt. I was just checking. In fact, Deseret Industries in Provo is exempt, so I'm not sure. But I would like to point out, though, that the legislature did adopt a stricter standard for charitable organizations to provide information to the boards that they do provide a community benefit, which is a higher standard than we've had in previous years. So it's a very relevant discussion at this point.
Right, and I have no interest in any of these decisions, but, you know, Tabitha's Way obviously serves, you know, the homeless and is itself a charitable effort. The Deseret Industry stores employ people who are gaining skills for, you know, life. And so the operation of the retail is more than just retail. It is itself a charitable effort. So anyway, that's why I said perhaps getting some more information about the actual operations, as far as possibly including the Restore retail operations as a charitable effort, would be helpful to the board.
Alan, would you be willing to give us that information, just everything that's being done there at that storefront, and so that we could see it, and then just kind of square it with what we see in regulations and with law?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to. Yeah, well, that'd be pretty easy to do. Was that something that I should just send over, just write up a quick draft and send that over to Vicky?
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. And I personally think that we could probably just hold this one until we get that, and if we can square that up, we can move forward. And if we can't, then we'll have further discussion, I'm sure, on it.
That won't be a problem. I can have that to you tomorrow.
Okay, fantastic.
So do we have a conditional approval on this, or do we continue that one?
I think we
parcel?
should probably continue that one.
Okay,
and-
so we continue the parcel 176457,
Yep,
and then approve the other three?
yes.
Okay, so I make a motion that we continue of the four, parcel 176457. We approve item 17, including the parcel 65, 551, 02, 03, and 04.
Yes, and I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That passes 2-0. Number 18, and thank you, Alan. Number 18 is to approve or deny the 2021 application for new property tax exemption for Heritage Behavioral Health Services. Anything on that one from staff that stood out that was need to discuss, because I didn't see anything myself. Okay, anything, Commissioner, you have that you want to discuss? If not, a motion?
No, I do not. Just confirm. No further discussion.
All right,
I'll make a motion, we approve item number 18.
and I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye. That passes 2-0. Okay, number 19 is to approve and deny, or deny 2021 application for new property tax exemption for rural housing. And there's a whole bunch of serial numbers on this one. Paula, look at
I
this
believe
one.
Brad Bishop is here.
Okay,
I saw his name earlier that he had called in.
I see self-help homes on there. That must be Brad.
That should be him. Yep.
Hi, good afternoon, Commissioners.
Good afternoon, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, looking at this application, I had two questions. Number one, is this a parcel that was already tax exempt but now is subdivided, or is this a brand new area?
So, yeah, these are two parcels that were exempted prior and now are subdivided into 56 lots.
So before it
All
was
of
one, so before it was one parcel, and we approved the tax exemption previously, and now you've just subdivided it into 50-some parcels, right?
Correct.
And
We
so,
did have some improvements prior, so.
what was that? There were improvements previously, and is that what you're saying, that the board found that construction had been initiated previously?
Yeah, I'm just confirming that there was improvements there for a sewer system that was being connected to the city sewer plant to get to this point. But yes, they were previously approved and exempted.
And has there been any additional construction since the sewer system?
So yeah, now all the improvements are in. Well, probably about 85%. The cities are issuing building permits now. We actually have 9 lots being built with single-family homes to 9 families. We also have 20 new applicants to close over the next 3 to 4 months here in the spring, early summer. So we'll have approximately 30 of these lots being built on with the self-help program.
So when I looked at the aerial view, I didn't notice any improvements, but the view I had might have been dated. Are there roads, sidewalks? What does it look like in that area?
So all the sewer, water, gas, storm drain, 95% of that is currently installed. Curb and gutter, roads are awaiting asphalt. The plant's just opened this week, and so we're waiting our turn to get the asphalt and sidewalks, and it'll be 100% complete. But the city is issuing permits because there is a hard surface on the streets. It does look like a subdivision. If you drive out there, there are power poles, light poles. You could drive through it.
Okay, so we've got activity on there, building permits, those meet all the criteria for this development. Any questions, Commissioner, that you may have?
No questions or discussion on my part.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we approve item number 19.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that passes 2-0. Thank you, Brad. Okay, number 20 is to approve or deny an application for property tax exemption for Utah Regional Housing.
Shannon Dalley is here for that one. If she could be added. And looks like Robert Vernon.
Welcome, Robert. Welcome, Shannon.
Thank you.
All right, on this
How are you
one,
doing today, Commissioner?
it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Any thoughts on this one from staff? Okay. Seeing none, I didn't see any as well.
No. I'll make a motion we approve item number 20.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Okay, these next ones are charity plan, if I'm looking at them correctly.
It's their continued property and the charity plan. This year we combined them.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna pause just for a second. We have two that we had tabled. Have they come back on just to check and see?
The Boy Scouts are here now, Jill Isom.
Okay, so that's item number 15. So if we could have a motion to bring item number 15 back on for consideration.
A motion we bring item number 15 back for discussion.
And I'll second that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. That passes 2-0. Now we're back on our regular agenda for discussion. And welcome, Jill.
Thank you. Apologize for not being here. It's something I've never experienced before, so I'm here.
Okay, well, good. That's part of the process is to have somebody here. So it's good to have you here. Anything on this one that you see from staff? Okay, I didn't either.
There is one property that when I showed this to Bert, since he's used to work for the Boy Scouts, there's one that was vacant. Do you remember which one that is, Bert?
Yes, that's the property up Springville Canyon that's owned by the council that was formerly used as the Cub Scout day camp. I know that the day camp has now been abandoned, and that property, the leased property, was turned back over to the city of Springville. So the council will have to show that they're still actively using the side of the mountain that is there. Otherwise, it would probably they would have to show us how they're using that to see that it still meets the exclusive use exemption.
All right, Jill, do you know which part is, you described it. Do we know which parcel number that is? Just in case. I've got 16-061-0016.
There's three.
Yeah, there's
plus personal
59-074 and 32-039.
It's 160610016.
Okay, that's the first one on our list.
Okay.
So Jill, on that one, is that still being used for, or is it a vacant piece of property? It's just not
It is
used?
vacant.
It is vacant right now, not being used?
Correct.
Okay. So with that, then we'd probably have to pull that one off. And I would recommend that we approve the other two.
And to confirm, which one are we pulling off again?
The 16-061-0016.
Okay. We'll pull that one off. And are we holding that, or is this, that would be a denial for that
Yeah.
particular one? Okay. Then I motion that we deny parcel number 166116 and approve 597410, 323901, and property account numbers 43441 and 1003050.
Okay, I'll second that.
That last number is a brand new account number if she's not aware of that.
The 103050?
Yes, that's for the Orem Scout office,
Okay.
the part that is the local people's part. I don't know all the words good to explain that, but
Yeah, they've got a,
Bert help me.
It's the new local council scout shop for the Crossroads of the West.
It's also an extension, has offices for the local district executives
Right.
that operate the scouting here.
Yep, and there's a portion of the building that's leased out by the National Council for for their retail scout shop.
Okay. Fantastic.
And that part's on the continuing statements.
Okay,
Okay, we do have a motion and a second for that. Any further discussion? If not,
make a motion
oh,
to,
no, I think you already did, right?
yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That passes 2-0. Unless you want a double motion. I mean,
No, it's
you want
all
to double down on it? Sure.
Just trying to make myself be heard.
All right. Is anybody on for 16? Do you see anybody there yet?
I have not seen.
I sent him another email, but I haven't seen anybody.
Okay. All right, let's move to item number 21 then. Is to approve or deny an annual statement for continued property tax exemption and charity plan for community nursing services, personal property account as listed on item 21. Is anybody from that organization online or here in person?
Sorry, Michelle Zimble.
Yes, I'm here. Michelle Zimbelman.
Okay, welcome, Michelle. Looking down through this one, do you see anything on there? Okay,
Commissioner, they have to explain their charity plan to us.
thank you. Michelle, if you would.
Sure. So we are a 501c3 organization that provides home health care and hospice services. And we provide numerous charitable, services to people within the community on a yearly basis, as well as regardless of ability to pay, et cetera. We do have, within our charitable plan, we also have some other things we do as senior wish donations, which the people that we service, if there's a certain wish they want to have, then we will provide that as well as we do honor salutes. And part of the honor salute program is anybody that we are servicing that has been in the military, we go above and beyond and do a special, honor salute for them as well. I'm not sure what else you would like to know.
Commissioner, their charity plan shows that the cost of their charity care was approximately $12,250 in 2020.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's what you were looking for? Okay.
Also that, because you have to show that your gift to the community is more than what your taxes would be.
Sure.
Okay. Any further questions?
I have none, so I'll make a motion to approve item number 21.
And I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Number 22 is to approve or deny an annual statement for continued property tax exemption for a charity plan for Heritage Behavioral Health Systems.
Rusty Pugh is here for that.
Russ, welcome.
Thank you.
Do you want to go through your process of explaining the charity plan?
Yeah, so we are doing a nonprofit 501c3 operation that provides residential treatment for youth that are 12 to 18. As part of that, we give back to the community in some of the events that we do, as well as offer scholarships to students. And in the past, those scholarships have exceeded around $10,000. We also offer scholarships to Utah students that typically don't qualify for funding elsewhere, and that has been over $100,000 in years past. So there are some of the things that we offer to the community through our residential treatment program.
Okay. Very good. Any comments or questions from staff? Seeing none. Commissioners?
I make a motion, I have no further discussion, so I'll make a motion, we approve item number 22.
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Number 23 is to approve or deny an annual statement for continuing property tax exemption and charity plan for Mountainlands Community Health.
Eric Johnson is here for that one.
Welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Sorry, my video cut out for just a moment. Similar to the two that went before me, we're a nonprofit 501c3. Mountainlands provides primary medical care, behavioral health care, pharmacy, and dental care. Have 4 locations within Utah County. And one of the unique things about our organization is we're able to take part in what's called the 340B pharmaceutical discount program. It allows us to purchase medications for pennies on the dollar and pass those significant savings on to our patients as a form of charity care. And in the past, between our pharmacies, our medical services, behavioral health, and dental services, we've contributed in the millions of dollars in past years, and which would far exceed any tax liability.
Their charity plan shows that they gave a patient discount of $37,769,000 last year.
Could you repeat that again?
$37,769,228.
Right, thank you. Any further discussions or any questions?
I have none.
Okay,
I'll make a motion, we approve item number 23.
and I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. Number 24 is to approve or deny a 2021 annual statement for continuing property tax exemption for and charity plan for Planned Parenthood Association of Utah with the associated serial numbers and personal.
And Carrie Galloway is here for that.
Carrie, welcome.
She's still muted. There you go.
Thank you. Sorry. Slow on the draw with the buttons.
Would you like to go ahead and talk about your charity plan?
Thank you. Planned Parenthood Association of Utah is a 501c3 corporation. Our mission is to help the citizens of Utah voluntarily determine the number and spacing of their children consistent with their own value system. Principal methods would be through healthcare, education, and advocacy. During the 2020 year, we provided healthcare to just under 6,000 people in your community with financial assistance of $374,000, and we also wrote off $71,000 of uncompensated care.
So the charity plan shows this is 45% of their annual revenue was contributed to the community.
Okay. Any staff questions? No? Commissioner?
I have a comparison. I've been looking at the Utah Property Tax Division and standards of practice for tax exemption. And one of the things it brought out was, as I was advancing and getting ready for tonight's hearing for all these other property reviews, I looked at each of these and compared to the standards that Utah has published. And it says the requesting organization's policy in the Standard 4 of the Utah Property Tax Division Standards of Practice says the requester's organization's policies integrate and reflect public interest. The institution's governing board is a broad-based membership from the community served by the institution as required by federal tax law. And the institution confers at least annually with the County Board of Equalization concerning the community's clinical hospital needs that might be appropriately addressed by the institution. And then the courts have said that, or indicate that charitableness must be met by the gift, and it's met through the lessening of government responsibility. And the IRS was saying that, or defines charitable purposes as to be used generally accepted in a legal sense, includes relief of poor, distressed, and of course, unwanted pregnancies are part of the distress, I understand that, or the underprivileged, the advancement of religion, advancement of education or science, erection, the maintenance of public buildings, monuments, lessening burdens on the government, lessening neighborhood tensions, eliminating prejudice and discrimination, defending human and civil rights secured by law, and combating community deterioration and juvenile delinquency. So I had that in my mind as I was preparing for tonight's equalization for all the other applicants. And in this case, we have a clinic, which is a branch of the Salt Lake-based organization. And they have provided the abortion services for about 370 some odd individuals out of Utah County and Salt Lake County last year. And it seems to contradict the Utah County had issued a resolution, of assuring the value of human life. In fact, the Republican Party emphasized that as one of its bylaws and principles. And as I looked at the gifts from all these other organizations, I see that they're giving back and rebuilding lives, homes, physical as well as emotional. And I consider the other 19 women's clinics in Utah County. And then as I read some more materials, there was quite a few on men's issues on this as well as women's health issues as a result of abortions after the fact and the resulting issues that came with it. So it seems to have increased the government's burden, as well as private organizations such as churches, schools, families, local communities. And so to me, and then I looked at the mission statement of the International Planned Parenthood, and it says that it declares that sexual rights, goes on to say, are universal, interrelated, interdependent, and indivisible. Sexual rights are a component of human rights. And this is what's interesting to me. It says they are an evolving set of entitlements. So it contradicts itself. It's not a right, it's an entitlement that contribute to the freedom, equality, and dignity of all people. There's a lot more to this, but it seems that it's increasing. It has not addressed the basic fundamental reasons for why the unwanted pregnancies exist in the first place. Of course, I grew up in high school, of course. I've been through teenage years. I understand that. But there has evidently, from what I've read over the years and what I've recently researched, there has been no real effort to reach out to the community to what is the value of a woman? What's the value of a man? What has Planned Parenthood done to do that? To help individuals to recognize the value they have as individuals, not because of their sexual abilities or interest or inability to express themselves more fully. So based on that, and I went into other things such as, for example, Cornell Law School defines charitable organization as a nonprofit created and operated for purposes that benefit the public interest, such as educational, which Planned Parenthood does do, scientific, religious, and artistic purposes. So in this case, it is a charitable organizations don't simply respond to issues, they address the issues head on. They try to get to the root cause and try to prevent it from happening in the future. And I have not seen that in the information as I researched it prior to till tonight. I compared what does it mean to have a charitable organization? What does it mean to give charities? What is the value of a charity? And through all this, I see that it isn't a charitable organization. It is a servicing organization. It doesn't necessarily provide charity. It simply provides a service, and that's how I see that, and my thoughts on that.
Okay. Thank you. I have some similar thoughts as to be expected, I think. This is an issue that we have dealt with. Standard 4 is one of those as well that I'm going to reiterate. The institution owning the property for which the exemption is sought must establish that its policies integrate and reflect the public interest. And I've toyed with that one on what that means, and a lot of times we measure that usually in monetary basis as if there's gifts, a gift back to the community, and what that what that looks like in the way of charitable services. But I've struggled with this one, and I said it last year when this came up as well. I struggle with what the values are and the loss of values, the loss of value, in this case, the loss of an individual, over 300 possibly. I know the numbers are probably a little bit older that we're going off of just because we haven't been updated on them, but in 2018, that's 374 lives lost in Utah County alone, and over 200 or 2,000, kind of statewide. What is the value of that life? And so I struggle with when we're talking about must be established, its policies integrated and reflect the public interest. And as one of the individuals who have been elected by the people in this county, I hear what they say, and I think that I have a better sense of what their reflection is than others that maybe profess to a certain extent. So with that, there's a couple questions, or there's a bunch of questions that I have, Carrie, that I just kind of want to establish to make sure I understand. Does your organization, do they instruct women how to go through the process of obtaining an abortion?
I'm not sure what you're asking. We provide abortion. The main purpose of Planned Parenthood is to provide women and families with the opportunity to plan their families, to be able to have the medical means to control their fertility and have families expand their families as they choose. Our instruction is that we provide education for young people with puberty, with sexual responsibility, for young adults the same, for sexual responsibility, and for adults to help them plan their families. One of our services is abortion, but we are serving right now close to 6,000 people in your community who have chosen to use the services of Planned Parenthood to help them plan their families.
Yeah, I'll reiterate the question because I think it's, I appreciate that there's multiple services that you're doing. This one I'm narrowing in on specifically, and it is: do you instruct women how to go through the process of obtaining an abortion?
There is no instruction. An abortion is a medical procedure.
So somebody comes in and they say, hey, I want to get an abortion. You just say, it's a medical procedure, get it taken care of? I mean, there's no instruction, there's nothing like that?
There is certainly assistance for people if they ask for it on decision making, but we encourage people to talk with their trusted family, spiritual, medical people, to make their decisions. We provide a healthcare service.
You don't hand out any handouts or online modules or print certificates or oral information for consent, anything like that, or
We use the
72
state-
hours for appointments?
We use the state mandated information. We follow all the state laws and procedures.
Okay, do you receive the online module certificate in order to document the 72-hour waiting period?
Yes.
Okay, that's state statute on that. Do you describe the abortion procedure options that are available?
That is all described in the state mandated information.
So you do, okay? Do you give out?
We use the state materials, yes.
And do you describe the abortion procedure options and as the options available? Do you give out printed material that describes pre and post abortion instructions?
I'm not sure what you're asking there. We provide all the state mandated information.
Okay. Do you refer women to clinics that perform abortions?
We refer women to all three. We refer women for prenatal care. We refer women for adoption procedures, process if they're interested. And we also provide information for termination. All three are provided on the same handout, so everybody gets all the information that's legally available.
And does Planned Parenthood Association of Utah perform abortions up to 22 weeks at your metro location?
We do.
Okay. Don't all Planned Parenthood locations, and they all fall underneath your umbrella, right? I mean, the application is not Utah County's Planned Parenthood. This application is for Planned Parenthood Association of Utah, right?
It's from Planned Parenthood Association of Utah, but we provide all counties with their required applications where we provide services. So that would be in Logan, Ogden, St. George, Utah Valley, and Salt Lake City.
Yeah. So this application, in essence, then is for Planned Parenthood Association of Utah, and specifically since we're in Utah County and you have an organization here, but it's underneath that umbrella of the entire.
It's under that umbrella, yeah.
Yeah. So the statement of.
But it is specific to your application.
Right.
Because everyone's is different.
And specifically, though, with what I've heard in the past, that abortions are not performed physically in Utah County, but they are under the umbrella of the entire organization of Planned Parenthood of Utah. So therefore, they're tied together, both the organization here in Utah County and the state organization. They're the same organization.
Yes, they're part of the same organization, but we do not provide abortions in Utah County.
Right, and I get that, but this application is for Planned Parenthood Association of Utah, which is on the application itself, and so it's an umbrella organization, and all the training and teaching and everything like that goes forward. So for me, my thoughts are the same, haven't changed from last year. Probably no surprise to you, and so I struggle still with calling this a charity plan when when there's deliberate actions of taking a life or lives and calling it a charity plan. That bothers me, and I can't get around that to the point to where I don't see how a certain value, any value that you put to it in the way of services that are provided, match that or exceed that. And so for me, I think it fails on standards. Standard 4 is one of them that I don't believe it does not reflect the public interest as I see it, and it doesn't meet the thresholds of even the monetary values of it.
In fact, Standard 5 says the total gift to the community exceeds on an annual basis its property tax liability for that year. And Utah State Supreme Court defines a gift as something to the community that can be identified either by substantial imbalance in the exchange between the charity and the recipient of its services, or in the lessening of a government burden through the charity's operation. And again, I see women's health issues, men's health issues have been well published. And of course, the life of the mother or rape or incest should be considered, and that's absolutely the mother's prerogative. But even in some of those cases, stories I found that those who were under those conditions, who lost their lives, had a child raised regardless, because that was a choice of the mother. Rape or incest, I have stories here of grown women who realized their mother is 12 years older than they are. And so I see the government's burden actually heightened because of the apparent that human life doesn't start until we say it does. Virginia broke that code last year, I think it was, when the governor said, we'll take care of a baby that is born alive and make it comfortable, and then we will discuss whether we want it to continue to live or not. And that throws me back to many decades of other horrors that I'm aware of and have seen since, that someone's life doesn't mean something until I say it means something. And that's where I'm concerned about. Whether it's at inception or the person's breathing their last few breaths, that person is a human being and should be cared for to the level that we can. And with the mother's jurisdiction, she has the right over her own life, or in the conditions of rape or incest. But again, that's the mother's decision, and some have taken that, which is fine, and I have no problems with that. But I get the feeling that Planned Parenthood is more of a service provider, not a help to the community. It provides it's not even a clinical, other than the procedure. It has, from what I have read on the local is tied to the national organized the international in 1952, I think it was. And the predominant number of deaths from this is just, I think 300, almost 400,000 last year globally. And to me, it's akin to seeing war horrors that I have seen in Iraq and elsewhere. And for an infant, I just cannot get my mind around it. And so I'm finished my points on that. I've dragged this on long enough.
One more thing that I wanted to clear up last year that was stated. It was stated that, hospitals perform abortions. They don't do the selective ones. And that was stated last year as a reason to vote in favor of, because we do a tax exempt status for them. But I just wanted to clear that up. And overall, in looking at this, I agree, Commissioner, with a lot of things you said there as well. It's, reflecting the interests, the public interests. I believe that Utah County is a very charitable group of people, and I happen to be the grandfather now of an individual who was caught in this circumstance. And so it's a little personal for me because I cannot believe that even that thought or discussion would happen in our community. And I believe that all of us, I mean, in a certain sense, of individuals would probably do a lot to help. And if the help was just given or if it was known. And so I think there's the charity plan. And that charity plan should be one that we should be raising the flag of, let's help these 74, let's get the numbers on in 2018, that I think are not a part of our community. They should be a part of, or at least have the opportunity to be a part of our community. And just like my little granddaughter now, be a part of our community, be productive members of our families and of our community. And so I am going to be voting no on this this charity plan. I don't see it. I don't see it on multiple standards here. And so, any other comments?
One last one, and that is, as I was doing some reading and thinking about this, there are 2 Hippocratic oaths. The latest was established in 1964. The original was created 2,500 years ago. And Hippocrates, the father of medicine, one of the things he had in here, he said, "Nor shall any entreaty prevail upon me to administer poison to anyone, neither will I counsel anyone to do so. Moreover, I will give no sort of medicine to any pregnant woman with a view to destroy the child." So 2,500 years ago, we thought of that little tiny thing in a mother as a child. Now we think it's a mass of something or other that we should just put into the garbage disposal. But again, where do we define where human life begins? Is it at birth? Is it an hour after? Is it a couple of days after, as some of these stories say, and continue to live? There's a beautiful woman in here. There's a handsome young man in here. They survived abortions, and they have viable lives. So when does human life begin? And I'm afraid that as a nation, we've begun to play games with that idea, and I would like to see it stopped at this point, at least. Unalienable rights. Who does it belong to?
Motion?
Commissioners, this is Diana Flores from the Utah County's Attorney's Office. May I ask a question of Ms. Galloway? So for the code and in the standards of practice, it asks that you show that the institutions seek to address the healthcare needs of the community. Can you explain more of how you address those needs? What are some of the things you do? I know you mentioned some STD testing.
Mm-hmm.
We provide family planning services, so all methods of contraception.
Mm-hmm.
We provide STD testing and other sexually transmitted disease. We provide fertility enhancement work when people are trying to get pregnant to assist them in that area. And we also provide community education work and advocacy work. But apparently the abortion is the only issue that this commission is willing to deal with, and that's where it lies.
Thank you.
To clarify, my focus is on the elective abortion. Again, it's the mother's choice for her life, rape or incest, absolutely. But otherwise, we have women's and men's clinics throughout Utah County that take care of all the things that was outlined already by Planned Parenthood, other than the abortion part. And so,
except that it's not on a subsidized basis as Planned Parenthood provides. And that's what the 6,000 people who came to us in 2020 were looking for.
And you have a point, but at the same time, our hospitals, and I don't know about all the clinics, but they do have a reduced payments. I forgot what the phrase is, but they have a payment over time, and sometimes they what is it, where they forgive some debts, some obligations.
That would be some.
Yes. So I'm familiar with several of those who've had those, not the abortion part or the STD part, but other concerns.
Ms. Galley, what are the most common tests that are given in this county?
Pardon, I didn't catch that.
What do you help the people of the county with the most? Like, what do people come to your organization for in this county?
The majority of women are coming for help with contraceptive services as well as STD services. So in 2020, we saw 5,945 people for those services, women and men. I don't know what else to tell you.
Is your organization willing to drop the abortion side and provide all the other services?
No, because abortion is legal and we provide it in a comprehensive manner that is compassionate, and people need to be able to have access to comprehensive reproductive health care.
Yeah.
I don't question how people live their lives.
Very good, and I'll reiterate my statement that I made last year too. At one point in time in this country, slavery was legal as well, and it was not one that we adhere to now. Unfortunately, the lights are kind of dimming here, so hold on a second. Yeah.
Or if that's a hint.
Yeah. Okay, let's bring this back up to the board. Commissioner, do you have a?
I'd like to make a
Motion?
motion that we deny our item number 24 on today's agenda of Board of Equalization.
I'll second that motion. And I think, Paul, there's plenty of findings in there for you. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion is denied.
I'd like to make a comment. Ms. Galloway, you can appeal this to the Utah State Tax Commission within 30 days of today's date.
I'm sure we will be. Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll move to item number 25. Approve and deny the 2021 annual statement for continuing property tax exemption for the educational organization as specified in the attached lists, attached continued statements. Any, Bert?
This is just a standard grouping of charitable organizations. These are all organizations that have been granted their exemption in the past. They are asking for continuing of that exemption. Basically, all of the organizations represented in this grouping, staff sees no issues with the applications to our knowledge, unless Vicki has anyone that she wants to bring out. I think we've got anything that is questionable has got its own agenda item coming up. So there's probably nothing of which we're concerned with the statements as presented.
Commissioners, this year a new law was passed that each one of these educational organizations has to have a curriculum, it has to have a faculty, and it has to have pupils and students. So some of the organizations that previously applied under educational now have to apply under charitable. So these ones that are on this list do meet those three standards.
Oh, thank you.
They do? Okay.
All right, if there's no other further questions, a motion?
I'll make a motion. We approve item number 25.
I'll second that motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes 2-0. All right. Number 6, to approve or deny the 2021 annual statement for continued property tax exemption for charitable organization as specified. It almost sounds like the same thing.
Same thing. We're
Same.
just breaking.
Well, this one's charitable.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is the charitable, so this is
Education,
the other
charitable, then
side.
religious.
There's the other
okay.
side. There's
Yeah.
There's three of them here.
Educational?
yeah, there's three classifications here. I'm holding up four
Charitable.
fingers so you can say there's three classifications, but
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And
Next one's religious.
commissioners, on this one, I messed up and didn't do a separate agenda item for the Alpine Valley Nursing Home or whatever it's called. And so the lady is going to be on, she's supposed to be on so that she can present the charity plan. I spoke to Paul earlier and he thought that this would be okay so that we didn't have to continue it.
But it's not on our, are you saying it's not on our agenda? Our
It's
posted
part of the
agenda?
list.
It is
but
part of the list.
charity
so-
plan isn't
So it's
separate.
on our agenda.
Yeah.
So it's
Right.
in number 26, but it should have been treated similar to numbers like 21 through 24.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a healthcare facility that has to give a charity plan, so they're just
Okay.
incorporated
And
with
it-
that list.
And Michelle Hardman is on.
So, I
You
mean,
can-
let's, on the procedural basis with this, should we pull that off of 26? And then proceed by passing, assuming that we approve that rest of those, and then allow for her to talk to
makes
us.
sense,
Is that,
yeah.
okay? So what's the name of the organization?
Pardon me, Commissioner, I've got lots of books.
I see Michelle there, so welcome.
Thank you.
What's the name of the
Yes,
organization?
it's Alpine Valley Care Center.
Alpine Valley Care Center. Okay, so I'd recommend, Commissioner, then that we approve item number 26 and exclude or pull off from that Alpine Valley Care Center.
Okay.
Do you need the numbers, the serial numbers and account number?
How about if we do that when we get to that item?
Okay.
I think maybe Diana Flores may have had some questions about some of these. We talked about possibly having her bring up some issues on number 26. I don't know if she has any.
Yes, I have a couple. Would now be a good time?
Yep.
Okay, so we have an application from Shooters Soccer Club, and we have a question on their gift to the community. The code mentions that to qualify for the charitable purpose exemption, they must be providing a gift to the community, which then is defined as lessening of a government burden, or then it lists 5 different things.
Yes.
And so my concern is their property is not being used towards a charitable purpose. They're a soccer club, and they do say that they teach youth soccer. However, they only have 11% of their income going towards that gift to the community of discounted rates and scholarships. And they also talk about service projects that they do, but none of those service projects are done on the property at their soccer club.
Now, I don't know if this is the same one from some of the ones in the past. It's probably the same ones that we have talked about over and over, and then have things changed in the way of their percentages or anything like that have changed from the years past in which we've given them tax exempt status?
I believe the main thing that's changed is in the past due to, and I would have to check, and I apologize, I don't have that off the top of my head, but I believe in the past we've actually qualified as an educational exemption, which had a much broader allowance, given that they teach you soccer, it's a sports, that kind of thing. But what the legislature changed the qualifications to be an educational institution, And so they would no longer fall under that because it requires to have a curriculum, a regular faculty, a regular enrolled student body. So basically, they would have to now qualify that as a charitable organization, based in the same vein as another youth-serving organization like Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, that sort of thing. So it's a relevant conversation because the legislature did tweak the qualifications to become an educational organization from prior years.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
In the past, part of this was taxable and part was non-taxable.
Yeah, they were getting a % taxable exemption. The portion that was dedicated to the soccer club and the parking lot, basically the building and the parking lot was exempted. The portion that is on Greenbelt and still being actively farmed was taxable.
Yeah. Okay.
So number 26.
I questioned, Commissioner, because it said that their gift to the community has to be more than their taxes would be. And so I wondered, when they only had the 11%, if that met that standard.
If the board would like to pull this one out of the continuing statements, we can ask that a representative from the soccer club come to the next meeting. By statute, the exemptions have to be decided by the 1st of May, I believe May 1st or somewhere close to there. So we still got another Board of Equalization meeting that we can take this to and invite them to come and maybe talk more about their organization and how they and their charitable function and answer any questions that the board would have.
That makes sense to me. That way, since there's a change in law, it gives us an opportunity to kind of work down through that too.
Well, where this is a continuing statement, normally this is pretty boilerplate. Where there's questions like that, it'd probably be good to give the organization a chance to represent themselves and answer any questions.
So we want to continue this item?
So we want to continue this one. This is the Shooters, is it Dockers Club?
Soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah.
I thought I heard
Shooter
Docker.
Soccer Club.
Soccer. Yeah. Soccer makes more sense.
Are we talking about?
And then there's another one that I also have a concern on.
Can I say something before you move on to the next one? I'm looking at their expenses that they put in their statement and comparing it to what their taxes were in 2018 before they got an exemption, and their taxes were $11,451.85, and they have on